Hi, welcome. This is a webinar on how to get a job in tech, tech experience. And this is Han coming to you from Singapore. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. So let's start the session with a story. And the story is about Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the world famous movie star. You say, Han, who is this guy? Okay, I'm sure you have heard of his name. He's famous for the Predator movies, the Terminator movies, the Conan movies. But to understand him, you need to go back to his childhood. He was growing up in Austria, Eastern Europe, and his childhood was very tough because his father was a very strict man. So childhood days very tough, and he liked to escape into the world of bodybuilding and movie making. His idol was this gentleman called Reg Park. So the idea was planted in his brain, and he said, I want to be the world #1 bodybuilder. So that was his dream, and he went to America, and after that, the rest is history. He became Mr. Olympia 7 times. It's a world bodybuilding championship title. So after his bodybuilding career is over, he said, I want to be the world #1 Hollywood star. So he went to Hollywood and he faced all kinds of challenges, all kinds of setbacks, because people say, oh, Arnold, you're too big, your accent is weird, you can't act, etc. But Arnold just focused on his goal and ignore all the distractions. And then he made it big as a movie star. The Terminator series made him world famous. And after his acting career in Hollywood has ended, he said, okay, I want to be a successful politician in America. And he became the governor of California twice. So what is the moral of the story? The moral is very simple. Even if you don't have experience, if you have a clear goal and you are passionate and you put in your effort, you can achieve it. Just like how you can get a job in tech without tech experience. Of course, this is where we have a disclaimer, because without experience, you can't go into tech heavy jobs like data scientists and all the deep programmers. But there are many tech light jobs that you can explore. And this is the focus of this session. So with that, let's talk about our handout. This is our handout. Make sure you download it. There are 3 pages. Very important page is page number 3, which talks about the world of work map. So with this map, you can actually find out whether you should even talk about tech, because it measures your work interests. So with that, let's come back and follow the notes. What is point number 1? Let's take a look at your notes. What is point number 1? Point number 1 talks about focus on things that don't change. Normally, when you talk to people, they tell you, oh, you must adapt to change. Change is a constant, etc., etc. This is where you must be contrarian and talk to people who are super successful. One example is this gentleman called Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.com. He said many people like to ask him, what's the change coming on? But to him, the more important question is, what will not change? Example, people will always want to be slimmer, they want to look more attractive, they want to make more money, they want to be healthier. So things like this will never change. And once you have customers, you will always have a business. Just like a business, a company, they will always want higher profits, higher market share, and lower costs. So if you know how to address these issues, you will always have a job. So this is what I mean by focus on things that don't change. And everything that is big today, like Apple, it's a $1 trillion company. When they started in humble beginnings. Apple started in a garage by the 2 Steves, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Besides Apple, HP, Hewlett Packard, started in the garage. Amazon started in the garage. Google started in the garage. Microsoft started in the garage. So you say, Han, any other places where all these big players started? Sure. How about university dormitory room? Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook in a Harvard dorm room. So remember, from small acorns, great oak trees grow. So never mind if you don't have experience, but you must have a clear goal and you must be willing to put in the effort in order to get what you want. So once you understand this, remember, focus on things that don't change. Now we move on to point number 2 in your handout, which is talking about your career stages. According to the chart, there are 6 career stages. Stage 1 is all about paper chase. That's in your younger days. And most countries have the same system, because you have to study for 16 to 20 years to get a diploma, a degree, and then you can go out there and find your favorite work. based on your studies. So paper chase is the focus here. But once you start your career and you go into the different stages from early career stage, mid-career stage, late career stage, it's all about the other piece: people, performance, and profits. So once you go into early career stage, which is age 25 to 39, you have 15 years to go as high as you can. How high you go will determine your trajectory for the next stage. Because if you didn't do too well in your early career stage, you have a second chance when you hit mid-career stage to make it big in corporate, because that's your last chance. If you don't make it big there, then tough. And once you reach your late career stage, which is age 50 to 59, this is where you must be plan B ready, because this is where you are the most vulnerable. You have high obligations, like your kids are going to college, you have mortgage loans, you have car loans, you have all kinds of loans, and then your skills may not have kept up. You may have experience, but experience can be a liability in a fast-changing, fast-moving digital world. So those are the 3 career stages, and this is why when you plan for a career in tech, you must be mindful. Do you have the drive, the energy, and the interest in tech? It's always easier to start in an early career stage to go into tech versus a late career stage. Of course, you still can, but it is just tougher. Because when you reach late career stage, it's 50 plus. Spirit is willing, but body may be weak. Unless you can take the 24/7, the constant change. Otherwise, you may want to consider something else. Once you go beyond late career stage, you go into 60 plus. That's what we call a new career stage. You have to reinvent yourself. Why? Because by the time you reach age 60, new career stage, you probably clock in like 35 years of experience. Most jobs in corporate don't need 35 years experience. So suddenly you realize that, oh, you have so much experience, but yet not many jobs you can do unless you're very, very high up there. So you have to reinvent yourself to stay employable. And once you hit 70 and you're still going strong, congratulations. But this is where you have to change the game, because world has changed. You can't do the same thing and expect to get the same pay. The norm out there is very clear. People tell me, Han, age is only a number. Those who say that normally have not reached that number yet. Because before age 60, they normally talk about KPIs, key performance indicators. After age 60, they look at a different set of KPIs. They look at blood pressure numbers, they look at your cholesterol numbers, and they look at your sugar level. So this is what we talk about in terms of knowing your career stage, so that you know your values, your drive, and your interests, because that will determine whether you should go into tech or not. If it's not tech, there's always something else, because after this segment, we'll look at how you can go into any industry without experience by just following the 2 I's and 3 P's. Check your interests, immerse yourself, and after that, make sure you work with people, work with your performance, and work with your portfolio. And that's how it works. Okay, so now you're clear. And now we go to the good news. Many tech roles are tech-like roles. If you follow the notes, you have 3 kinds of jobs in the tech industry. Generally, you have tech-light, middle tech, tech-heavy. So tech-light is whereby you don't need a lot of heavy tech stuff, and this is the best kind of role if you don't have experience. But as you progress to mid-tech, tech-heavy, then you will need much more than just what we share here today. All right, so remember, good news, many tech-like roles, and this is where you can start applying what we share in class today. So how to do it? Key question, how do I get into tech without tech experience? All you have to do is follow this formula. 2I, 3Ps. 2I, 3Ps. In your notes, you can see, I stands for interest, immersion. 3P stands for people, paper, and portfolio. And before you say, okay, Han, let's jump in straight. Let me give you the context. Singapore tech is booming. If you refer to the MAS talk given last year, I think the MD of MAS was talking, we need 19,000 tech employees a year. Our universities can only supply 2,008. That's like less than 15%. All right. And say, Han, what about the polytechnics and the ITs, Institute of Technical Education? Oh, they will supply another 4,005. So you add up all these mainstream institutions, the supply is still less than 40%. Meaning out there, companies are crying for help. They need more tech employees. And this is where you can come in, even if you have no tech experience. Huh? So this is where we plunge in and look at, now you know, big picture, there is a demand. So how do I meet the demand so that I can have a good career for myself? So while we're here, let's take a look at some questions and see whether we have anybody asking any questions. All right, we have a question. It says, is it right to say that certification is more relevant in present day tech job market compared to having a degree? This is where you must know the playground. Meaning, know the company, know the hiring managers. What kind of background do they have? If they gone through the school of hard knocks and they don't have a degree, then they are very open to non-graduates. All right, it's just like reciprocity. You mirror yourself, you recruit who you are familiar with. That's how it works. So certification important, but more important is go for competence, not just certification. I hope that answers your question. Next question. What are some skills that potential candidates should acquire to be more employable, especially in the tech industry? Okay, we'll come to that shortly. So park the question. If I did not answer that, please remind me again. All right, thank you. Let's move along. So you say, Han, what is this 2I 3Ps? So first thing first, acid test. Ask yourself, are you interested in the tech industry? Because you are not, then no need. Interest is very important. Interest means what you like to do. Doesn't mean you can do. Interest is what you like to do. So ask yourself, do you like to work in the tech? And where did that interest come from? Because if you say, oh, Han, I want to go into tech because the demand is very high, the salaries are very high, then maybe the wrong reason. So how do you find out if you are interested? Go to the handout. There is a link for you to do your self-interest test, or not test, assessment. There are two links, one for anybody who can just click and then find out. It's called the RISEC code, Holland's RISEC code, RIASEC. It measures personality type and also work interest. For Singaporeans who are listening in, you can go to Skills Future and measure your RISEC. I'll just run through briefly what is RISEC. For those of you who have the link, you can just complete the assessment, only 30 questions, and you'll find out what is your number one interest. And if you have a chance to look at your notes, there are 3 pieces. Look at the last page. This is your map to show you the world of work. All right, so let me just run through quickly what is RISEC, RIASEC. So this is developed by this gentleman called Dr. John Holland, and he measures our personality type with the work that we like to do. And he came up with 6. R stands for realistic. People who like to use their hands, fix things, fix equipment, we call them the doers. I stands for investigative. So individuals who are investigative like to analyze, research, troubleshoot. These are the thinkers. RIA, artistic. Artistic are the creators. You are very creative. You like to express yourself with new stuff, new program, new things. Basically, you are what they call think outside the box. So RIA, SEC. S stands for social. Social are known as the helpers. They like to serve, they like to help, they like to heal. So you find many teachers, many nurses, many trainers are helpers. Also team players. And then E stands for enterprising. Enterprising individuals are what we call persuaders. These are the talkers, the influencers, the leaders. They like to lead. So we call them the team leaders. And of course, the last letter is C, conventional, or what we call organizer. So individuals who are C, like predictability, routine, stability. So from your profile, if you have done the assessment, you can see for yourself. If you're under R or I, then natural interest may be into tech roles. But you say, Han, but I'm not R or I, or even C. Then there are always other roles within the tech industry. Example, you have human resource in the tech industry. You have corporate communication in the tech industry. So there is always a role for you. You just need to know what you want. All right, but come back to basic. Do you know whether you're interested? If you are, fine, go ahead. If you are not, then consider another sector. What we share here is also applicable. So remember, first thing first, interest, what you like to do. Once you know what you like to do, then you can talk about training to develop what you can do. And that's called skills. And companies hire you for skills. Why skills? Because skills lead to performance. After I, what's the second I? Second I is called immersion. Means you must dive deep into the industry. In this case, tech sector. Be one of them. Live like them. Think like them. That's how you commit. It's not just involved. Commit yourself. Ask yourself, what can I do to think and live like a tech player? And that's how you get to understand whether you are suitable to be in the tech industry, because you are coming from no experience. So don't just depend on what you read in the media, online, on the papers. Go and test it out. Immerse yourself. Best way to survive immersion is to be useful, to be helpful. And that's how you can learn. So number one, check your interest. If interest pass, go ahead. If interest don't pass, explore a different sector. Number two, immerse yourself. Get into the industry. Mix with people, find out. You can check out Raja Block 71. There are a lot of startups there. That's a good place to find out whether you like the vibes of the tech startup industry. Yeah? So let's take a break while we look at more questions coming through. All right, what else? Some of the skills, okay, this is a very good question. Some of the skills I have are transferable. It enabled me to go to the final round. However, I always lose out to another candidate with technical background. Is there anything I can do to highlight to help you score in the final interview? We'll talk about interviews later under people, but remember this. In every job interview, the fact that you're calling means you stand a chance. But to enhance the chance, you need to understand what they want. So this is where you must do your research. And a very important thing is cultural fit. Do you fit their culture? Because in any interview, standard 3 questions they have in their mind that they will not tell you, but it is on almost every interviewer's mind. What are the 3 questions? Number 1, can you do the job? Competence. If you cannot do the job, nothing to talk about. If you can, number 2, can we afford you? Because end of the day, it's about dollars and cents. If I cannot afford you, no point giving you high hopes. And number 3, can you fit into my team, meaning culture? So from what you tell us, maybe you got to work on the part, or you can talk to them and find out exactly what is the part, all right? Because you tell me that you go to final round, but you lose out. So you may want to work on your skills in terms of finding out more in terms of what is their preferred candidate profile. That's how it works. Any courses that train people for tech-like jobs? Oh, many. There are many companies out there providing tech-like, but this is where you must be very careful. You are not just talking about training. You're talking about application of training to get results. Companies are paying you to deliver results. So don't be taken by all the very glossy brochures and say, oh, we train you in the latest digital marketing, we teach you how to build websites. All these are just features. It will not secure you the job. You got to sell benefits in terms of what you can provide to the company. Why should they choose you over 10 other competitors? And that is results. All right, so yes, explore training, but most importantly, look at those training courses that you like based on your interest, based on the tech-like jobs, and then you ask yourself, can I talk to those past graduates? You get a real picture. All right. Next, somebody asked a very good question. They say, Han, can I assume that tech-like also means salary-like? You'll be surprised. Tech-like simply means you don't need a lot of tech-heavy stuff, meaning programming languages, data sciences, hard sciences. But tech-like means you can use digital marketing, you can use technology to get things done faster. And if you are aware, in any company, the marketing people tend to get higher salaries if they have a direct bottom line impact. So it's not true that tech light equal pay light. No, tech light can be pay heavy if your role has a direct impact on the three things we talk about. What are the three things? Number one, increase profits. Number two, increase market share. And number three, reduce costs. Those are things that never change. Okay, get into your head and then you realize this is the game that you have to play. Let's move along. What job is suitable for somebody age 50 and looking for plan B? Good question. First thing, do is self-reflection. Take stock of your career from early stage up to now. At 50, you have survived two stages, early career and mid-career. So look at all the experiences and skills you have and ask yourself, are they relevant to the world today? Because when I talk to many of my students and clients, they tell me, Han, companies classify anybody age 50 plus as high pay, old skills. So this is where you must ask yourself, are your skills relevant? How do you know? Just go and check out all the job portals, whether it's JobStreet, Indeed, or My Career Future, and look at the jobs that you're interested and look at the skills that they list down, whether you can do those things. That will give you a reality check. And then you ask yourself, for you to pivot, effort versus return, you got to calculate, is that something that you want to do? All right, so let's move along. Plan B, remember, the best plan B is play to your strengths. And your strengths could mean your experience. Your strength could mean your connections. Your strength could mean your deep knowledge of the domain. So this is where you have to find out for yourself, what are your strengths? Remember, career strategy is applying your strengths to opportunities. That's how you work. Okay, and we have another one, very interesting question. Say, Han, I've got a lot of experience, but I'm not relevant to tech. How can I position myself during interviews? What transferable skills should I highlight? Let's clear this once and for all. You have heard this term, transferable skills, so many times. What does it mean? What it means is, oh, whatever skills you have, I can transfer to another role, another industry. In theory, yes. In practice, not so straightforward. Why? Because you have this thing called different industry contexts. Your skills within a certain industry, let's say oil and gas, may not be directly transferable to, say, hospitality or education. So this is where you must be careful of all this jargon out there. Talk about, oh, look at transferable skills. You have to go beyond that. Today, we're going to share with you a new term called marketable skills. So, Han, what is that? Marketable skills mean your skills are marketable, meaning people or companies are willing to pay you to do those things, even without a job. And that's what you should look at. What marketable skills you have. And that's the one that will get you your next role, whether as a employee or gig professional. All right. But you say, Hannah, but I need to know what are some transferable skills. Let me tell you, the most basic transferable skill you must show is number one, problem solving. Show them your results from your problem solving. That will be a big plus. Number two, communication skills. Written, verbal, digital. Because if you can communicate well, you can talk to anybody, you can convince anybody. That's it. Number three, transferable skill, if you want to insist, is project management skill, meaning start and deliver. That's it. And of course, other things would be like flexibility, adaptability. You can go on and on, but bottom line, remember, a better bet is marketable skills. Are your skills marketable? Meaning, are companies willing to pay you just to do that, even without a job? If you can, then congratulations. Oh, somebody say, Han, what is your experience in the tech industry? Let me say upfront, if you want to listen to a tech speaker in terms of hardcore tech, I am not the one. My experience is in helping people change careers, transit, and looking at companies' bottom line. What do companies look for? And like I said, every company look for the same three things, whether it is tech or non-tech. If you are in touch with what is latest in the market, look at the reports coming out from Google, Facebook, Apple. What are they emphasizing now? Performance, productivity. So understand this. Every industry is people industry. Without people, tech is just a facilitator. All right. So tech is very sexy. Everybody say tech, tech, tech. But I can tell you, any company, bottom line, tech is driven by what? Business. And business is driven by what? Profits, market share, cost. That's it. What do you think people are selling stocks now? All the platforms are suffering because interest rates has gone up. So no more cheap money. So that's the ecosystem that we talk about. So what I bring to you is very simple. I bring to you the experience of a hiring manager. I bring to you the experience of how people have transited and the stories they share with us. That's all. All right. So you say, Han, then you're not the right guy, then I'm so sorry. Well, you say, okay, I want to learn some transferable skills, then you can stay on. All right. Next. What if you are forced to disclose the expectation of the salary? My reply is I will deliver and execute a job with results and work within your budget. Okay, this is about job interview skills. Meaning the standard question is, what is your salary expectation? Many ways to answer it. Okay, the best way to answer it is, of course, if you have done your research, you know what is the range for the job and you just mention a number. But a better way to answer it is to let them tell you. So this is where you have to learn how to deflect the question, because if you have done your research, work out what is a baseline that you will not go below, you can share that number. All right. You are not expected to disclose, but in a job interview situation, remember, after the hiring manager has seen 5 candidates, everybody looks the same. Your challenge is to make yourself memorable. What did you say? What did you do that make them remember you that, yes, this is the right fit? So it's back to communication skills, impression. Have you created a very positive impression with the interviewer? Look at a guy like Mark Zuckerberg. What is his favorite interview question? He said, oh, I'll see whether I can stand to be with this employee if I'm stuck on an island with him or her. So it's all about people. If your hiring manager likes you, then half the battle is won, especially if you can do the job. All right. Many employers are still insisting on last round. Of course, this is standard practice. Why? Because they want to know. They use your last round as a basis, which may not be fair. So this is where you got to ask yourself, what is the best strategy to answer that question? You can always say, oh, my last round is confidential, but what I can tell you is that I'm able to deliver this job, and for the market rate, this is the rate. Because most of us are underpaid. That's why when you go to a new job, you can get increases of 20, 30%. When you stay in a company for too long, you actually depreciate. All right. So let's stop the question and go back to our topic before we go over time. So we were at immersion. So number 1, check your interest. Number 2, immerse yourself. Like the person who asked, Han, what's your experience? This is where you get your experience into a tech industry and find out what is the culture like. Because at the end of the day, these are the people you're going to work with. This is the environment you're going to work with. These are the hours you're going to put in. Are you able to do it? So once that's done, you go to the critical 3 Ps. Number 1, people. Why are people so important? People is the one that can give you a chance. So Zig Ziglar, the motivation speaker, said, if you help enough people to get what they want, they will help you get what you want. If you apply it to career, remember, if you help the right people get what they want, then you get what you want faster. Who are the right people? Hiring managers that can give you a job. Hiring managers can refer you to a job. Hiring managers that can give you opportunities. And they don't know you. So to them, like, why should I bother? So you have to make sure you're so good that they cannot ignore you. You become present in their life. You connect with them on social media, on LinkedIn, and show that you can add value. Never go asking for a job because you scare them away. So people is critical. It is the part of the equation, what we call the hidden market. So you say, Han, what is the hidden market? There are 2 markets, open market, hidden market. Open market is where you have all the advertisements, the job portals, etc. This is where everybody goes. How many percent of vacancies are there? Probably about 20 to 30%, because it's very easy, just advertise. Hidden market is where you should play. That's where like 70-80% of the jobs are not advertised. And this is gotten through what? Referral or recommendations. So you say, Han, how do I know? You need to know the right people. Why is this so popular nowadays? Because when it's so easy to apply for a job online, people stop going through resumes. Instead, they look for passive candidates. What are passive candidates? Passive candidates are candidates that are not actively looking, and they are quite happy where they are. And this is where recruiters and employers will start looking at all these passive candidates. Because for you to be not looking means you should be doing quite okay, meaning you should be doing well. So one of the key things to remember is make sure you are findable online. LinkedIn, make sure your profile is updated, current, not just profile, make sure you're active, not just a brochure. If your LinkedIn is active, fine, then they can check out your Facebook. Look at your social life. So make sure your social life is consistent with your professional life. I just read a report this morning and said, oh, all the young people are no longer on Facebook, they are now on TikTok. So this is where you got to understand, where are your right people hanging out? That's where you go and hang out too. Okay, so critical, huh? People. Next, paper. Once you meet the people, you know what are the relevant paper. This is where you go and do your studies. Paper equal evidence of effort. You make an effort to upgrade, to upskill, but do it only after you have found out what the industry wants. Because out there are so many papers, not all are relevant for jobs. All right, what else? So paper shows that you are actually committed, you want to earn something. Paper can also mean you attend coding boot camps, you go and attend intensive short courses, but just be aware, such courses will give you very domain-specific skills. Anything outside may be out of your reach. So be aware. Coding bootcamp's good, but doesn't guarantee you a bigger job because it is very specific. Just do a simple comparison. It takes you at least 4 to 5 years to get a computer science degree. Coding bootcamp could be like 6 months. So the coverage and the depth is quite different. So paper here means relevant paper to the job. Key thing is get into the job, get into the industry, then you can decide how to move from there. If you're not ever inside the industry, it's just dreaming, it's not real. And of course, the last one is portfolio. Remember, we say companies hire you for results. Portfolio is evidence of your results. So in tech companies, you can, I'm sure you've heard of this place called GitHub, GITHUB, where they share their codes, their projects and everything, and everybody is there. So bottom line, same thing, everybody is there, very crowded, but who makes a difference? The decision makers. So make sure you have evidence. Make sure when they search you by your name, by your profile, you are findable, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on your own website. Make sure they can find you. Then you have a chance to be called up. If they cannot find you, meaning you don't exist. So in their minds, that how can you be in tech when we cannot find you online? So online tech is almost like synonymous. All right, so that's the gist of what we can talk about given a short time. Just to recap, remember, check your interests. If you're really keen in tech, then immerse yourself. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Focus on first principles, meaning focus on people, the right people that can give you the opportunities, that can give you a chance. Talk to them, tell them why they should support you. All of us started with no connections. Who are the ones that get the connections? The one that's willing to go the extra mile. So once you meet the people, then you can decide what paper should you embark on, what courses should you take. And once you take the courses, little letters doesn't count. Instead, your portfolio of projects holds more weightage because it shows that you can deliver on your promise, which is what you promise you can do for the company. So those are the things you can apply whether you want to go into tech or any other industry. If you have no experience, remember, this is one way. So with that, let's move back to the questions. We've got many, many questions. Okay, let's look at this question. Can you share a bit more about what we can really immerse in tech, since tech immersion is a buzzword? Example, how do we garner interest or tangible action plan you can suggest for us? Good question. Number one, do a reality check. How many of your inner circle, meaning 5 people, your 5 best friends, the one you spend the most time with, how many of them are in tech? You say, none. Then straight we know that your inner circle has no tech connection. So you got to go to the next circle, which is the next 10 friends. Any of them in tech. So that's a very real check to see whether in your ecosystem you are tech or no tech. So you say, okay, next 10 they are tech. So this is where you can talk to those people who are in tech and go with them to tech events, whether it's Gulf Tech, Deep Tech. There are many, many tech events. Subscribe to these newsletters. They have conferences, there's events. Go there and be useful and be helpful. How? Volunteer. Talk to the membership person and say, oh, I'm very keen in this industry and I'd like to find out how to go about it. Why membership? Because that's the person with the most contacts in the organization. They will be very happy with extra help. So you can talk to people. You say, I'm the very shy type. Then you talk to, you piggyback with somebody who has experience and talk to them and find out. Because bottom line, whether you're talking about business or career, it is a people business. People like people who are like themselves. That's why you see your friends, most of them share common interests. Why? Because of common interests, common ground. And that's how you do it. All right. So this is one way. Number one, you get in, fine. Next question on your mind is, what can you do for us? So you have to put in some effort to show that at least you can contribute. So you say, I want to go into tech. Then ask yourself, what are the tech skills that you can learn and contribute? Because at the end of the day, I mean, we have people who can talk, but you must also be able to do. So go back and do the assessment and find out for yourself whether you are somebody who can, who enjoy doing this. Very important. So those are some ideas that you can think about. Okay, this person said, I solicit feedback and a company says, oh, you're from marketing. This person is from related industry. How to overcome? Honestly, there's only one vacancy. The best fit person who wins. All right. So you got to ask yourself how to play the game, because end of the day, who do people hire? People hire people who they like, know, trust. Or rather, know, like, and trust. If you talk to all the top people, they don't entertain core applications. Why? Because there's no quality check. They only entertain referrals. So what you can do is start to get into all these groups where your target roles are and get to know people inside. Because once you're in that group and you are visible as the person who can get things done, then you will become visible. You may say, not fair, but this is humans. So that's how it works. All right. Because every company has their preferred candidate profile. And we will not have any clue what it is like. Only the hiring manager knows. And our challenge is to find out as much as we can, whether it's online, offline. So you just have to immerse yourself in that industry. That's how it works. Oh. Okay, that's a very good question. Say, tech industry is too wide because there are tech jobs and all that. So your last job matters, of course. That's why if you look at my notes, there are 3 kinds of jobs: tech light, mid-tech, tech heavy. And tech is so wide. Nowadays, everybody just put your domain and then they put a tech. Example, edu-tech, education tech, health tech, healthcare tech, social work tech, operations tech. No, they just put a tech and then it's like, it's a buzzword. But bottom line is back to basics. What can tech help you to achieve? So those who are smart will go back to first principle and ask, what can I use tech to help me stand out as a candidate? That's what you should be looking at. All right, because very simple. The media may not be familiar with the tech. So easiest way is just use generic term, buzzwords. Tech is hot, so everybody into tech. But within tech, there are layers and layers of tech. All right, you look at a startup tech versus a mature tech, different ballgame. So this is where you have to do your own due diligence, go and immerse yourself in the target group and find out. People is the key. All right, somebody told me, Han, you should tell all the aspiring tech people to hang out at tech startup spaces, because that's when you get to see and talk to people, and then you get to feel the vibes. All right. Thank you. Mid-career transition, would it be a stumbling block? The answer is yes. This is something that most people don't talk about. Huh? Once you are mid-career, you are age 40 to 49, your experience can now be a liability. So if you're smart, you start to look at all your experience and extract transferable skills, update them with new skills. Then you become updated. All right, like in the good old days, you have operations, logistics. Old school way, now you update using technology. That's how it works. So one of the things, if you are serious about tech, please learn how to use AI, artificial intelligence. All right, not to ask you to do heavy coding or deep learning, no. Learn those platforms out there that are already using AI and understand how it works. Bottom line is about your performance at work. Companies hire you to deliver a job. Know that very clearly. All right. Companies, somebody asked, Han, you mentioned 3 things a company look for. Okay, what are the 3 things? Number 1, they ask, can you do the job? Which is a measure of your competence. So in your resume, in your interview, make sure you come across as somebody who can deliver. Number 2, can they afford you? So make sure you do your salary research and know where you stand. Of course, you have a baseline that you will not cross. All right, otherwise you will be suffering. And number 3, can you fit into our team, our culture? Because the workplace is a team effort, it's a team game. Culture is the one that makes or breaks somebody. Like, I'm sure you've heard this phrase, people don't leave companies, they leave bosses. What that means is culture. All right, if like now you read all the media out there say, oh, great resignation, people are regretting all kinds of things, because the media has to create all this buzz so that people say, oh, but if you talk to your people around you and ask yourself, is it happening? All right, latest survey came out and said, oh, Han, 4 out of 10 Singaporeans will not take up the job if they cannot work from home or something to that effect. Sounds pretty, okay, very self-actualizing, huh? But if they have to feed a family, their loved ones, they will take the job. So it's all about individual. We can't extrapolate all the possible causes, but these are just surveys. Remember, surveys are just patterns. Huh? Somebody asked, Han, how do I go back to the workplace after being a housewife for 10 years? 10 years as a housewife, you've got many skills. Your challenge is to start. First thing to do is reframe your thinking. Cannot say that, oh, Han, I'm out of touch. No, you have to start to get back in touch. Reframe your thinking. Housewife is work. Just that it may not be office work. I'm sure you have read a report somewhere that says the housewife pay is almost like 200,000 a year because of all the responsibilities. So go back. First thing is find out about the sector you're interested in. What kind of profile do they hire? Check out the job description, use the job description, and then put yours side by side and see what are the gaps. And the gaps are the ones that you use to close. All right, whether you have to attend training, whether you have to attend coaching, whether you have to join meetups, mastermind groups, get yourself immersed with like-minded people to support you. Because the women workforce out there, massive. thousands of people that can do good work, but they are being not looked at seriously. All right, so yes, very important. So first thing first, reframe your thinking. Don't discount your value. Number two, reality update. Find out what is the current profile of the candidate they want, match your own profile, and all the gaps close. Because if you can handle the mindset part, the rest is quite straightforward. All right. Outdated and no longer interested. All right, fine. Say, Han, critical core skills are redundant. Many employers don't know about them. Let me be very candid. The market moves at a very fast pace. Agencies, institutions takes time to catch up. So if you really want to be updated, make sure you subscribe to the latest newsletters from the top tech companies, from angel startups. So you get a sense of what is going to happen. Remember, in any sports, you always go where the ball is going. You don't go where the ball is. So you must be half a step ahead. And that's how you position yourself. And you're right, many of the skills is like you say, how come I upgrade, I attend all the training, but I still don't get a job? That's called reality check. All right, so this is where you got to be aware that there are different levels of training. What if my last salary is more than they can afford? Which I mentioned, taking a pay cut. So this is very personal. Got to ask yourself, how much can you take the pay cut? Because it reflects your value. Like the very popular Coca-Cola story. How much is a can of Coke at ABC store or Sheng Siong? Say, Han, $1. How much is a can of Coca-Cola at Golden Village Cinemas or the movie theaters? $3, 3 times. How much is a can of Coke at the 5-star hotel, 6-star hotel? $8. So same product, different price. And the price is driven by perceived value. So in the minds of the employer, it's like, okay, this is how much you're worth. Unless you can change your mind, then that is how much they will pay you. So it goes back to what is your value proposition that you can offer to the employer. Show them the evidence, portfolio. What have you done? Your testimonials, what have you done? Because what they want to see is, if you have been an awesome worker, they want to see you repeat your awesomeness in this new job. All right, remember, even if they pay you the same pay, they will expect higher performance from you than the last person. This is how it works. Any company, it is the same. And for those who are aiming to get promoted, remember, you don't get promoted doing the same job. All right, you get promoted doing a bigger job. Being new to the industry, is it possible to transition a new career with minimal or zero pay cut? Possible, but not always practical. So this is where you got to ask yourself, what can you deliver? You need to know the job that you're applying for. If you are new, definitely there's a learning curve. So what you can do is to negotiate and say, okay, I am new. I have no experience, no direct experience, but I can deliver. So one way you can talk to the hiring manager and say, okay, I will take what you offer me. And if I deliver within the next 6 months when I come in, can we agree that you will up my pay back to my previous? So it's all about negotiation. Because companies are businesses. Businesses are in business to increase profits, reduce costs, increase market share. If you are a superstar, they will want to keep you. All right, they will pay what you want because you can bring in so many times. Example, you look at all the top players, whether it's sports or industry, the top players will earn many, many times the average players. That's how it works. All right. So one of the things you got to ask yourself is, how much do you believe in your value? And can you make the interviewer believe you? Very important. All right. Okay, this one right on the spot. Most HR are younger people, and they may not be comfortable hiring older workers. That's called a reality check. It is a fact, all right, that as you become older, your options become more limited. And that's why you got to ask yourself, do I keep playing the game, same game, or do I change the game? If you listen to this guy called Robert Kiyosaki, he say, oh, Han, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different solution. So if you say, you know that there's certain level of discrimination, you start to shift and look at what are some roles that will have less discrimination. Because it's just like that. You go back to the same place, you get the same discrimination. Doesn't change. It is, if you ask me, it is a system flaw. That's the way it is. All right. And many of the challenges are very real. I've seen enough cases to tell you discrimination is for real. Somebody said, Han, I'm a fresh grad. I regretted the degree I took. Now I want to go into tech, but I am no tech. How? Number one, go back and do your assessment. Do you like to do tech? You can find clues in your own history. All right, in terms of your interest, in terms of subjects you take in school, you can almost tell whether you are tech inclined or not so tech inclined. Because if you're tech inclined, easier to pick up tech. If you're not tech inclined, it takes a lot of effort just to get to average. So this is the tough part. Find somebody that you trust and respect. You can go and check out WSG. There are career coaches that are there to help you find out your strengths so that you can plot your career. Not necessarily tech. Any industry, if you are the top people, you'll get paid top dollars. All right. Somebody said we are expected to tweak our resume to the specific job role. How do we do it if we don't have experience? So when you don't have experience, you must use transferable skill terms or proxy. And that's why portfolio is so critical. When you don't have experience, you need a substitute. What are the substitute? Number one, paper. Then you have paper knowledge. Number two, portfolio projects. That's why it's very important to start, if you're really keen in tech, to start to do tech projects. Because as you do it, you get better and better. So once you have projects, then it's easier to write. Otherwise, you may pass the ATS, the applicant tracking system, but when you come face to face the interviewer, you cannot pull a fast one. They can tell straight away that you don't have experience. So I'd rather you put in the work and learn and do it. All right. Oh, somebody said, oh, Han, you mentioned we need to be where the people are. Does it mean that it's important to have a TikTok account? Let me give you some facts about TikTok. From what I know, 60% of TikTokers are less than age 35. So probably on TikTok, you will have to sing, dance, do pranks, do challenges, all that stuff. Huh? That's the DNA of the platform. But 60% below 35 means 40% above 35. So you got to ask yourself, is that the area you want to go into? Going to TikTok is not about TikTok. This is the secret. If you get it, you get it. Going to TikTok is to build your confidence. Imagine many people say, Han, I don't dare to go on camera. TikTok forces you to go on camera and be yourself. And I tell you, if you have shot 100 TikTok videos, your confidence will shoot through the roof. And that's the purpose of TikTok. It's not about doing lip syncing, dancing, singing. No, it's about building your self-confidence. That's the real truth behind TikTok. If you can do it, welcome to the next level. All right. So don't worry if people say, hey, Han, this is not where the employees hang out. True, they don't hang out. But remember what's the side effect? If you're on TikTok and you become very popular and you become an influencer, your money don't come through salary. Where does your money come from? Your money comes from endorsements. Your money comes from advertisement. That's a new career. And that's why so many TikTokers, I'm sure you saw on National Day parade, somebody mentioned, right? They gave a shout out to a local brand. Straight away, the company reached out to them and said, oh, thank you for the shout out, and got rewarded. This is a new game. Meaning, can you attract eyeballs to you? And if you have a huge following, certain industries is very, very beneficial. All right. Some say, Han, what is WIIFT? What's in it for them? All right. Thank you very much.